All right, we ready? And grab your bag and go. That's it, move. Go, 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 go. One, Armani suits and run.
All right.
All right. Week 10, Armani suits and run. Last week had a 2-2 in 1 week. Got off to a pretty solid start. We had Patriots +3, which ended up being a push. That game went to OT. Pats lost by a field goal. That was my pick. Kieran, you were on the Rams -1.5. Got the win there. Who'd they play again?
Seahawks.
Seahawks, yeah.
Seahawks, yeah. That was a great overtime game, right?
Wild game.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it started off, I think we were feeling pretty good. Then all of a sudden it was like, hold on. Like this is
Yeah.
suddenly
The
pretty
Seahawks
hairy.
were down
They ended up
7
pulling
before
away.
that, Jason. They were like down 7 late in the fourth, right? Like
Yeah.
before Jason scored that touchdown. So it was like in hand for a second there, and then it kept swinging back. So
Yeah.
it was a good game.
Yeah, great game.
Probably the best game of that. So, I mean that time.
Slate, yeah. A good dub. And then Bowen, you were on the Chargers, -1.5. Who did they play?
Browns.
Browns.
Ugly.
Yeah. So we were at what, 2-0-1 heading into the night game. Had the Colts +5.5. Kieran and I were on the Colts. Bowen, you had been on the Vikings -5.5. I don't know that I've fully recovered from what happened to us there at the end. Because what were they down? They were down like 11 or 10, and then opted to kick the field goal to get within a score. But if they had just kept going, tried to score the touchdown, could have gotten the cover. But at that point, like out of timeouts,
Yeah.
2-minute warning, didn't recover the onside, just left with no hope, which was brutal. That was an instance where, just absolutely crushed by deciding to kick a field goal there and then hope you can recover and toss up a Hail Mary, which just sucked. So that took away the potential of a perfect week. Went into Monday night. You had the Chiefs and the Bucks. Chiefs were -8.5. Kieran and Bowen, you guys were on the Chiefs -8.5. I was on the Bucks, but team pick was the Chiefs. Ended up being an exciting game, overtime game. Obviously, with an overtime game, when you're laying 8.5, you're dead in the water. That was the case for us. So finished the week 2-2-1. So that brings us to 18, 26-1 overall. My personal record with my push 3-5-1. And I'm 10, 13-1 overall. Kieran, with your win, improved to 6-3. And then for your picks plus the prime times, you're 11-13. And then Bowen improved to 3-6. Overall, you're 10-14. So that's where we are after week 9. Any thoughts on the week?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we just weren't really close on either of the primetime games. I mean, obviously there was the hypothetical opportunity for the Colts to either go for it or kick the field goal, recover it, do whatever. I really don't like that move anymore. Just over the years, they've just kept changing the onside kick rule, changing it. It's basically impossible to recover it now. So I feel like at that point, you almost have to kind of accept your loss and just go down with the ship and say, you know what, have some pride, try and get this touchdown in. Even if it only leaves us with 10 seconds, we can still kick the onside kick and maybe get like a miracle Hail Mary. But I just feel like that strategy is dead at this point. It's, especially with having to declare the onside kick. It's just lame. So I think they need to figure something else out with that. I don't know if they need to move to that 4th and 20 conversion rule to try and get the ball back or something, but I feel like that would at least be more exciting, and it's like giving us something to feel like there's actually a chance at getting it. I feel like would be probably best for business, but I don't think the Colts ever got inside of the red zone. So it's like, sure, of course, the number was close enough that we could have covered, but it's like, yeah, I don't even know if they were gonna finish off that touchdown drive because they were just so bad they couldn't even get inside their opponent's 20. So that was pretty bad. And then just on the Chiefs Bucks game, you could just tell that early that the Bucks came to play, and when you're favored by over a touchdown, it's just going to be tough to cover that spread. So, Baker Mayfield, he was slinging it even without Godwin, even without Evans. Cade Otton, he stepped up a ton. The running backs, they were playing well, holding it down. So, yeah, it just felt like we were never really on the right side there. Of course, there were still opportunities, but I never really felt good about either of our picks.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are on just like steer clear from, I think, for the rest of the year for me. The way they play their games, um, it's just a bit leaky on the defensive side of the ball. They have a really good defense, but the offense kind of kills the clock. They run the ball a lot for like 4 yards a pop. Mahomes converts every third down, but doesn't really equate to covering an 8.5 point spread. So, um, undefeated team, good team, but got burned, 2 weeks in a row with them just not being able to get over the hump, really. So that game is what it is. Other game, um, yeah, I don't know. I don't have much to say. Flacco was pretty lifeless. Vikings defense really good. They brought a lot of pressure and smothered them. So it is what it is. Decent week. I mean, stringing that together with a 3 or a 4-1 week is, I mean, not gonna. It was 4-1, right? 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
So not gonna complain about that. 6-3-1. The last 2 weeks is solid. So keeping it moving in that sense. So it is what it is.
Yep. All right. Let's get to the week 10 picks. So this week we've got the Germany game. That's going to be Giants and Panthers. Quite a contest. Giants 6.5 point favorites over the Panthers. So we'll do that game. Kiernan's got the pick from 40, the foreign correspondent. We'll make our individual picks, and then the wheel this week. Made a decision as a team. I think just given the way the Lions are playing and our just general love and zest for the Lions and Man Campbell, that we're going to be a Man Campbell team. Given that they're in the primetime spot, the wheel this week will be Man Campbell against picking the Rams and Dolphins game. So if it lands on Man Campbell, we go with the Lions -3.5. If it lands on the Rams and Dolphins, we'll spin the wheel again. We'll make the picks and see which pick wins out. So that's the agenda. We want to get into it with the foreign correspondent.
Yes, I have a written submission, no video.
Oh, geez.
Okay.
Everything all right over there?
And I quote, no video because something's got to give. My statement is to get my first Armani suits win, and they need to take a look in the mirror and stick to the X's and O's. Therefore, all killer, no filler. Give me the Cats from Carolina, and you can quote that. Panthers +6.5.
I like the move. I couldn't see his fucking goofy ass face pop on the screen again and give a loser. So if this doesn't hit, at least we don't have another one of those videos. So I don't know. It's a tough game.
If this doesn't hit, is he automatically going to Vegas?
Hey,
I think he needs like a sliver on the wheel or something.
I will say, I think it's this was a tough draw for the international games this year. He was picking some real shit games. I think it was the Jags 3 times, and then
it's only tough if you don't know how to pick them.
I know. It's just it's been an interesting go. But okay, Panthers. That's actually going against the source. The source was saying this is like his
That
Yeah,
was his mortal lock. He actually called it his mortal immediately early in the
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
He didn't even hold back. I mean, and I will say I would have been on the other side of this. I think it's a good running matchup for both teams. I just think that it's going to be a better passing matchup for Daniel Jones. I don't know. I kind of got this weird feeling coming off that Jamar Chase game. I feel like Malik Neighbors. I feel like Brian Thomas. I feel like Justin Jefferson. I feel like all those LSU guys might all put in some big weeks this week.
this is this like National Tight Ends Day? It's going to be National LSU
Yeah,
Receivers Day.
because I just feel like
I
they're all
kind of
just going
fuck
to
with
see
that.
that and be like, I feel like they're probably all in their group chat. Like, let's just show out this week.
All right. Well,
Um,
that may have to be a surgical lie.
I mean, I keep the international game. I treat it like a primetime game, do it on its own. But I'm already zeroing in on some Malik Neighbors stuff. So I got Malik Neighbors touchdown definitely penciled in on the card. So
Neighbors is also due the last like month or so with the injury, and then the past couple games he's been like good, and the offense obviously has its uh, limitations, but he's due. He's due for a big
looking
game.
at their last 6 games, the Panthers' last 6 games, they faced for wide receiver ones. We're talking Jamar Chase, DJ Moore, Drake London, Terry McLaurin, Cortland Sutton, and then when I'm putting in my stats, I had to count Taysom Hill as the Saints' number one wide receiver because Chris Olave was out so early. And I just feel like he had 5 targets more than anybody else. But starting with Chase, he had 85 yards and a touchdown. Moore had 105 and two. Drake London had 74 and a touchdown. McLaurin had 98. Cortland Sutton had 100. And Taysom Hill, even with his 5 targets, he had 41 yards. So they're pretty weak at that position. I just feel like that's where we're gonna, it's Malik Neighbors. He hasn't scored in like 5 weeks, and I think that also it's been longer if you factor in whatever time he missed with the concussion too. So I just feel like he's overdue. I feel like this is going to be one of those games, and I mean it could also still be low scoring. I was doing the stats, and I think in like the 3 Germany games or 4 Germany, it's either like 3 to 5 Germany games. I don't think they've ever scored more than like 35 points, and like the average score is like 29, 30 points. So it's always low scoring out in Germany.
It's
But
that extra commute past London.
I mean, I think they
yeah,
just got in today. Both teams like got in there today. That's a big. That's a big. That, I don't know, that's a big trip. That's a big trip on a Friday into a Saturday, like Sunday morning, whatever
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is over there. It's a lot of travel. It's a lot of
looks like a
travel.
good time though. I saw a video. It was Luke Kuechly, some other Thomas Brown. Is that a former Panther? I don't know, but
Yeah,
they
he
were
was
Tom,
a
doing they were
quarterback.
doing the
Thomas
Stein
Thomas
holding.
Davis. Thomas Davis. I think it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, I think so. And they were doing the Stein holding competition. They had Julius Peppers in the background. Steve Smith was pouring more beer into their Steins. Looked like a pretty good time.
It's funny that they got to bring out like the legends of each team to go out there and
As
like
if those
muck it
Germans had
up.
any clue.
It's just not. It's just, I saw Victor Cruz was out there too. It's like
Yeah,
these
like
these Giants and Panthers teams are so
Victor
yucky. They got to
Cruz.
bring out all the stops. Like
holy shit, it's Steve Smith.
Oh shit.
But, all right, 40's in for the Panthers plus 6.5.
What is
I was kind of hoping he would take the Giants just because like there's like an outside chance that Dayball could have gotten fired if they lost, but
Oh man.
I feel like Dayball's like an end of the season firing, but it just to at least give us a little bit of something to watch, it would have been
Yeah.
nice. But
Yep.
all right,
All
let me
right.
pull
Go to the wheel.
it's almost me again. But
Oh.
I thought it was happening for sure. My shit lagged. I thought it was for sure gonna be
I was
on
kind of
button.
hoping it wasn't, because then it would just feel like, is there something wrong with this wheel? It would have felt weird if it happened again.
The weighted wheel. Um, all right, I'm gonna go Commanders minus 2.5 over the Steelers.
Ooh.
I like that Washington's at home. They're inside the number. I think they continue to play really good football. I know Brian Robinson's out, but Eckler's been playing pretty well. Chris Rodriguez looked good last week. Filling in for Robinson, who was a late scratch. I also like the juju for Chris Rodriguez. Just gave up his jersey number to Marshawn Lattimore. No request, no money, no nothing. Just a team guy. He said he's a veteran. He's earned it. I've only been here a couple of years. The team. He's locked in. I think he's going to have a good week. And then, obviously with the Steelers, the defense, the pass rush, TJ Watt, but looking at their schedule and who they've played, they haven't really seen a guy who can run and scramble like Jaden Daniels. And I think he's going to have the ability to, in a sense, kind of neutralize Watt by being able to get out of trouble, make plays. Expecting and also hoping, because he's my fantasy quarterback on every single team, that he'll pick up a lot of yards on the ground, and just keep drives moving down the field. So I like the Commanders.
That was the other side. The Steelers were, I think, they were my number 2 pick. If it came to it, they were if my number 1 went, they were next up. So I see your side. I do. I really just chalk this game up to just TJ Watt's gonna blow everything up. And I think the Steelers will be able to run the ball pretty well. Najee's been a fucking stud most of this year. And I just, I think with them coming off the bye, getting another week with Russ and Pickens and that wide receiver core, practicing together full health. I think they could just catch a young Commanders team. Just this week. I think the Commanders might just be due for an outright loss. 7-2 on the year, great start. Obviously, Jaden Daniels is great, best rookie, by I think a pretty wide margin so far to start the year. But I just I like Tomlin to have his guys ready and to win outright. But we'll see. I'm a mush and a half, so probably for the best.
I'm curious because I think Tomlin's like either really good or really bad as a road dog. But I was actually in the middle on this. I think that this game was just a true toss-up. I actually think that despite Pittsburgh's defense being so good, and it's easy to look at that and say that could be the reason that they win it, and it still could be because they could still be making a bunch of plays. But I actually think this is a game that's going to go way over. I feel like this is a game where both teams could, end up, flirting with 30 points if they don't both exceed that. So, I just thought it was a toss up for both sides. I was kind of flipping back and forth, trying to figure it out because that's one of those games that's so exciting that you almost want to have a pick on it. And then, after switching it back and forth like 4 or 5 times, I realized that, hey, maybe I don't really have a firm stance on it, and maybe I'm better off just watching it as a fan. But yeah, I was actually in the middle on this. I think it's just going to be a really good game.
I think I'm looking. Hold on. Trying to find a stat. This is from earlier this season. Mike Tomlin is a road dog, 41-28-1 against the spread.
I was thinking about I was thinking about his record as a road favorite, which I see is 32-40-2.
Yeah.
I think that was probably the stat that had stuck out to me.
Yeah.
A good record as a road dog too, but
Yeah.
What was it? They played somebody. It was probably a month ago when that was posted. But yeah, I think that they were a road favorite.
Yeah, it was beginning. Yeah, it was like first couple weeks of the season. So
yeah. All right. Oh boy. All right.
I like the Niners minus
Whoa.
6. Whoa.
Whoa.
the Niners.
No, I was trying to say Niners minus. Niners minus 6 on the road against the Bucks. I'm going a different route, kind of viewed this game through a different lens. The Niners cornerback Travarius Ward, 1-year-old daughter passed away before the bye week, like a week and a half ago or whatever. Niners coming off a bye. got McCaffrey back. I think they're gonna absolutely fucking steamroll the Bucks, playing with heavy hearts. The service was actually just today, for his kid. So Treverius Ward's obviously not gonna be playing. He's out for a unknown amount of time. But I think the Niners come out and just absolutely fucking shit on the Bucks, who are depleted. With their wide receiver corps, obviously Evans is still out. Godwin's out for the season, most likely. I think that catches up with them a little bit. They're coming off an exciting game last week against the Chiefs. Overtime game, or not overtime game. Just a good game. Sorry. Where I think they might get caught up. A little tired from last week. Catching a Niners team that needs to win. Niners kind of come out of the gate a little tough. One of the worst red zone offenses in the league, but I think that all gets flipped on its head when McCaffrey's back. Inside that red zone, and just in general. So I think they find a way to put up mid 30s on the Bucks, and the Bucks have a tough time moving against the inspired Niners defense. So Niners -6.
All right.
I'm reading up about his daughter's past. This is terrible.
Yeah, it's fucking awful.
I mean, it sounds like she really had gone through a lot in 2 years. She
Yeah.
born prematurely, diagnosed with Down syndrome. And then she had to have open heart surgery in April 2023.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I think I remember that.
She was only like 6 months old when she had to do it.
Yeah, because when the news broke, I thought it kind of like rung a bell in my head, or I was like, I remember hearing more about his daughter. I was like, I hope this isn't like a case where it's like just multiple kids and all that stuff, where it's like you keep trying and everything like that. I was like, yeah, but that's just, bro. But just from a football sense, I did have the Niners were actually second on my card. I think it's the same. I kind of just see it as like, unless Baker Mayfield is he is truly transformed into this like unbelievable quarterback, which I think he's very good, and I think he is playing at an MVP level.
Yeah.
Is he really going to be able to do all this and throw for 350 yards with this, cast of just randoms at wide receiver again? I just don't know. I feel like this is going to be Niners coming out of the bye week. They're going to be able to lock down. They're going to pick apart that Tampa defense. I think Brock Purdy and George Kittle are hanging out over the bye. I saw pictures of them going on a double date or something. So I feel like they'll be looking. He'll be getting peppered with targets. So yeah, I just like the Niners coming out of the bye here. I like them, especially inside of a touchdown. I think that they should be coming in here looking for the blowout.
Yep.
Especially against an NFC East team, division leader. It's like you got to make a statement at this point in the season.
Yeah. Oh, Bucks too. I mean, they've lost 3 straight, 4 of their last 5. They're struggling. I mean, as you said, like Baker's obviously been playing really, really well, especially with Evans and Godwin out. I mean, what he's been able to do, the numbers he's putting up are crazy, but I mean that defense can't stop shit.
They're really bad. That defense is really bad.
Really bad. And they're just continuing to lose ground. I mean, they're like 11th in the conference in terms of the playoff picture. I think right now at least 2 games out of a playoff spot. Like it's going to be really hard to catch the Falcons. They've already lost to them twice. Like,
yeah.
And then, I think the Niners obviously like, they've kind of gotten off, like they've had this like, kind of seesaw schedule where it's they win one, lose one, win one, lose one. Obviously won their last game against the Cowboys, but yeah, they get McCaffrey back. Obviously the Treverius Ward stuff, but like this is go time for them. You pick up a win here, you get over 500. You get the Seahawks next week, which
only half a game back in the NFC West.
That's a super tight conference right now. I mean that, or division. Like,
does every team have like the same exact record?
5-4, 4-4, 4-4, 4-5.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But they've still got some tough games ahead of them. They got to go to Green Bay, then they got to go to Buffalo the week after. They got another game against the Rams. It's gonna have to play the Lions. They close out against the Cardinals, which, that could very well be for the division. So, this is one you got to pick up. And obviously you want to make a statement. So, I like the pick. I like getting behind a team, especially given everything they got going on.
6 was also a pretty light number, I feel like, for this. I feel like I thought it would be like over like 7.5, 8 sort of number. I was expecting it to close at a bigger number for them.
Yeah, they probably get a little bit of help just from being at home. If this
Yeah.
was at San Francisco, they'd probably be pushing 10, I'd guess, maybe like an eight
Yeah.
and a half point spread or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All
All
right.
right, back to the wheel.
Yeah.
Please. Wow.
All right. I'm taking the Eagles minus 7.5.
Ooh.
I know Cooper Rush. I know that he's actually got a pretty good record against the spread. I remember it's one of those things where it feels like it was last year, but I think it was like 2, 3 years ago when he had to take over. What was that? When Dak broke his ankle or something?
Mhm.
When he took over and they actually were playing pretty well, and people were suddenly talking about him becoming another team starter or something like that. But I don't know. I feel like kind of in the same way that the Niners need to come out, make a statement, and blow a team out. I think that Philly's in the exact same spot here. I think that they're trending in the right direction. I think that Dallas is just a bad team. I think that they are just actually a bad team this year. They didn't do anything to address the run game. The run game's been very bad this year. They're getting a little something out of Jalen Tolbert in the slot, stepping up as the wide receiver too, but they're mostly still just leaning on CeeDee Lamb. They need at least a third receiver. I don't know if he needs to pass Jalen Tolbert in the depth chart, or if they just simply need a peer to him, just to add somebody else. But they just don't have it in the passing game. And now all of a sudden you go from Dak Prescott, who can at least deliver it at a pretty good level to these guys, to go into a backup in Cooper Rush, who even after getting that push that he got when he was filling in for Dak a couple years ago, he wasn't able to turn that into a starting job. So I feel like this is a lot kind of on where the league stands on him. So yeah, I think that they just need to come out. Philly, AJ Brown, he's back. He seems to be good to go coming off that knee injury. Devontae Smith, he popped up on the injury report during the week, but he's been confirmed good to go as well. I know Sirianni hinted that Jalen Hurts, he's been resting, maybe dealing with a little bit of an ankle injury, but I just think this team, I think that they're feeling good right now. They're buzzing coming off of that Saquon game with the backwards jump and everything like that. But yeah, I just think this is a team. This is a good team that's maybe better than I think they were getting credit for. I was personally down on them going into the season. I still don't think that they're, lock them in for the NFC Championship game like they were a couple of years ago, but they are still a good team. They're going to win this division. I think. I do think that they're going to end up passing Washington, but yeah, I don't know. I think they just need to come out and make a statement. So I'm taking them. I know it's kind of a sketchy number, and I know that Cooper Rush has the good against the spread record, but I feel like this is where things kind of change on that.
I think a lot of what you were saying, Kieran, about Cooper Rush, like that, I think that was 3 years ago, if I'm remembering it
That sounds
correctly.
about right. Yeah.
And that was a much different Cowboys team. I think they were a lot more put together of a team back then.
Yeah,
The
that
team
was when they had like a league best defense, that type of thing.
Yeah, they had a lot of guys on those teams a few years ago that they were legit. I don't know if Super Bowl contenders, but like they were heavily in the mix. Type of teams. So, I think he's coming into a much different situation. Don't think it's a very good situation. I think he's probably getting thrown to the wolves a bit. Wasn't expecting to be playing this week, and yeah, the Eagles are flying around right now. They got AJ Brown back. He's going to be playing. Devontae Smith, who had a little hammy thing or something like that this week, is good to go. And obviously Saquon and Hurts and all those guys are lethal. So uh, the number is the number, but can't be scared. Can't be scared of a matchup.
Yeah, and like I get it too. Because I feel like Philly is just much better than the spread. Like I really feel like this could be like a 42-10 type of game. But it's a home division dog, so I kind of get it being a little bit tighter and being at that sketchy just outside, giving us, we're giving away the hook on that. But yeah, like I said, I look at this game and I think that it just needs to come out, and I think that the Eagles they need it to be a blowout. So
And Sirianni got his shitty coaching, almost blew a 20-point plus lead last week. So
yeah,
hopefully he learns from that and doesn't do the same exact thing if they are in a spot like that where they get out, fast and hot, early. In this game, hopefully Sirianni just doesn't do anything and just lets the other coaches coach.
I also think Jerry Jones kind of wants them to be bad. I think that he's maybe obsessed with getting Yash and Ginty on that team. I think he wants him to come and be the new Zeke. So uh, it just wouldn't shock me if Jerry Jones, like, if he was almost pulling a Buffalo Wild Wings, press the button, make them lose, that type of thing, just to make sure that he got his guy and ended up with a top 10 pick. It just feels that way. And, maybe he's just simply losing his fastball. I think as Coley Mickey tweeted today, he said he lost his fastball, his curve, his change, his control, his velocity. He's got nothing going for him.
Got
He just
nothing.
absolutely does not have it
He
anymore.
has nothing.
Yeah,
His arm just clean fell off.
but that just feels like a Jerry Jones thing. Like, you know what? My last big splash is I'm going to get us another Zeke, another franchise running back, and go out and get the guy that's fighting to win the Heisman right now as a running back out of Boise State. So, yeah, I wouldn't even maybe just as like a witch doctor or something, just putting a hex on this team, be like, make sure we get a top 10 pick.
Um, yeah, I this was my second pick on my card. I had the Eagles -7.5 for all the reasons you guys laid out. I think just my snap reaction to the game was if you take the two teams and you put them side by side and look at from a health perspective how they line up, you've got one team that's relatively very healthy for week 10 in the season, and you got another one that's really fucked up and very dysfunctional. And I think I think it's a recipe for a blowout. And Kieran, I think as you said too, like, this does seem like a team that maybe just kind of needs it to be a blowout, especially after, I mean, they were smoking the Jags last week and then almost blew it, and I think it's a little bit of a like, all right, we got to go out there and this is almost like it's like a tune-up before, like, because I think they've got the Commanders next week, right?
Thursday night.
Yeah, yeah. So that this is like a championship fighter taking a tune-up before he goes to face Canelo or something. It's like
Yeah, it's
let's
McGregor versus Cowboy.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go. It'll be a 40-second fight.
shoulder
So yeah,
Yeah,
shoulder
but it's
punches
also one of those things too where I don't know if teams are scoreboard watching at this point in the season, but depending on how that Pittsburgh Washington game, and hopefully for our sake, Washington does win, but they could be going into that game with a chance to tie
take
for the division lead with a matchup against Washington 4 days away. So it's like this is a very important game for them. I mean, this is a game that they absolutely need to leave with a win. Like I'd say, as far as regular season win goes, this is probably one of the more important games of the year for them. So yeah, it's I just think everything is going in that direction where it's like maybe it's almost me making a personal challenge to them, but it's like come out here, show us what you got, and make a statement and try and make that pass as we enter the home stretch into the season.
yeah. It's gonna be a really interesting few weeks for that NFC East because um you know both teams come out with a win, or as you said, Philly's able to kind of tie it up. The next week is truly to determine who's going to take the lead, but then they're going to play each other again later in the season. And looking at Washington's schedule too, I mean they've got a lot of winnable games ahead of them. I mean they're gonna get the Cowboys, who, should likely be without Dak. That should be a winnable game. If Dak goes in the IR and he's actually done for the season, they're gonna get the Cowboys again. They're gonna get the Titans and the Saints. Those are gonna be very winnable, obviously. So, this I think both teams are set up. This is gonna be really fun to follow down the stretch.
Yeah. All right. Going to the new wheel.
Let's do it.
All right. So I mean, if it's Man Campbell, then it's basically just a walk off because there's not.
It's Man Campbell. The show's over.
Yeah. I mean, before I even spin, I just gotta say it's pretty obvious we've been hyping it up so much. We're obviously gonna be picking this Miami game. We
Absolutely.
came up with all these rules about well, Man
This is,
Campbell, order of operations, that comes
this is
over
like the
Costanza.
this is like the Big Short at the blackjack table. We should start taking bets on what the wheel's gonna.
Yeah. All right, there we go.
Oh,
There it is.
Oh my God, it's a walk off,
bro, our first Man Campbell. Electric.
You got to make a GIF of the like Jose Bautista walk off with Man Campbell's head over him.
I'll
Gonna
see what I
need
can
that.
do. I kind of want to dabble in the fan edit game. I kind of want to.
So the game is Lions at Texans.
Yep.
What's the number 5?
3.5.
3.5.
3.5.
Yep.
Okay.
Did you get that 5? Is that what it is currently?
I don't know.
Because I think
was
Nico
like
Collins
blind.
confirmed out. I know Will Anderson's out.
That was just blind.
That's just how Bowen capped the game on his card.
Maybe
Yeah.
subconsciously I saw 5 earlier. Let me check.
Yeah, because I was gonna say because this is a line from earlier in the week, but now that Nico and
Is Nico
no,
out?
it's still at the same. It actually opened at 1 and moved up to 3.5.
I think-
is Nico out?
No, he's still questionable, I think.
I think his practice window is open, but he hasn't practiced this week. They said they're going to keep an eye on him. I think Will Anderson's confirmed out though,
He didn't practice.
which first round mock would tell you is probably a good thing for the Texans. That's
crazy.
he didn't have a first round grade on Will Anderson, so
He's a selfish prick. First round.
Listen, you gotta see this guy. I think that we maybe sent it to you before, but me, Bowen, and Simcoe, we love this guy. First round mock.
Yeah.
He's allegedly a former Jet scout. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know. I'm sure I could look into it if I wanted to fact check his resume, but he just like he like blogs now. He has his own website where he does breakdowns. He's basically doing the Belichick, the Gruden thing. He's just out there putting his analysis out there to let people know he's still serious about getting back into the business.
Yeah.
But I started reading him because I was reading his wide receiver previews before we had our dynasty rookie draft, and I actually kind of felt like I liked them. I was like, I'm kind of liking how he's breaking this stuff down. And then once the season was starting to get underway, as far as like preseason and camp and everything goes, he just became like he was not this guy when I followed him, but he became just like a troll reply guy. Anything if Caleb Williams like sneezed and you could see like the booger come out, he'd be like, that was just gross. That's not what QB1s do. Like he's like that type of guy. Like,
Okay.
he hates Caleb Williams. He hates Shadur Sanders.
Yeah.
Basically anytime that, any guy that he doesn't have a first round grade on, if they don't put out like a Hall of Fame level performance week to week, he's tweeting away and replying to any clip being like, I had a 4th round grade on him. He never should have been starting as a rookie.
I had a 4th round.
And it's like, and he like hates Shador Sanders, like hates him, like does not say a single good thing about him. And like it gets to the point too where it's like, okay, like I understand that like he's not like a perfect quarterback prospect. Like maybe he's not as elite, like he can't stand in there like some of the great pocket passers in the league right now. But he's still like a very good quarterback, and he does so much talking about the kid's character and stuff like that. And it's like
I've always gotten
personal. Like, his analysis.
I've always gotten some like racial undertones with his messaging. I always feel like it's always a little bit more than just a first round mock tweet. It's just he feels like really personal sometimes.
Oh yeah.
He might just be a real piece of shit. I get that vibe. I don't know about the Jet Scout thing. I don't know about anything else, but
because it's like
he seems like a fucking creep.
It seems like he's like legitimately using this account to try and get himself back into the NFL as a scout. But then at the same time, it's like it just feels like a troll. Like when he's arguing with people and he's like, I don't hate Shadur Sanders. Like I am just trying to correct the narrative because it has swung so far into the positive direction. And it's like, we hear you, man. But it's like
take it easy.
I almost want to stop and be like, you know what? Before we continue, just say one good thing about Shadur Sanders. Like, it's like it's like when all you say is negative stuff. It's like, how can I take? It's like, okay, so he's the worst quarterback ever. Like, you can't give me one compliment about the kid's game.
This is
That
like that. This is like that Trump and Hillary debate where the moderator asked him, wasn't it Trump and Hillary? Where the moderator asked him, "Can you say one good thing about your opponent?"
yeah. Yeah, exactly that. It's like
Responses
just tell me
so
one
funny.
good thing about Shadur, and then I'll give you a pass for like
Yeah,
whatever else you want to do to slander him. Like tell me
yeah,
he can process the field, tell me he's got a strong
yeah.
arm or something, but it's like
But in order for me to take you serious as an objective assessor, you can't like you got to say something
You
positive.
could even say like he can just make all the throws, but everything else I don't try. Like that's the easiest cop out. It's just like
he
Yeah.
also like he
quarterback can
only
make
gives
all the
out
throws.
like three
All the
first
throws.
round grades. And it's like, dude, you realize
Oh, he's like Portnoy with pizza.
yeah, but it's like you realize there are 32 picks. So like
Yeah.
there has to be
There has
32
to be
first round
30
picks.
first round, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yo,
it's like
by the way, speaking of Portnoy and pizza, I'm embarrassed by the South Coast
oh,
showing. Mark
bro,
Anthony's just having like this fucking Trump supporter dude like
yes.
surfing in Portnoy's yellow
Oh my
line.
God.
I didn't
Like,
even watch the full review because it was like 5 minutes. I was like, I need to know what
bro,
the score is. So I started skipping. And then I forget what it was I texted you, Tristan, because you said how that guy was a character. And I said
Oh yeah.
I skipped ahead, and then all of a sudden I got to him just being like, Trump's a good guy, dude. And I'm like, how did we get here?
bro, it killed me,
Oh
bro.
my God, I was dying.
Mark Anthony's too is like a steak. That's a great piece of spot. Like you don't need to be doing all that, bro. Like just
The
Yeah.
scores were just
leave cool.
I feel like he didn't go to like I mean, and I'm not like a New Bedford pizza expert, but I feel like he wasn't hitting all the like I don't know, like the what was it, the Differ Cafe? I didn't realize that they were like a
You
must
should have.
try pizza spot.
Riccardi's is a good pie. He should have went to
I
Riccardi's.
know. I
That's
wish he did
probably
Ricardi's, like just for that, just for the sake of that style, like the little
I
bar
think
pie.
he should have gone to River Junction. My new
yeah,
spot. They got a good pizza over there.
bro. That really is like your stomping grounds, huh? Like
Oh, we've been there like twice in the last 3 days.
that's awesome.
Yeah, we love it there. We were there, what was it? We were there on Sunday. We actually I watched the end of that Rams Seahawks game from there. And then what was it? Yeah, we were there. We went last night. We grabbed some pizza from there. So it's good. It's good stuff. All right. Well, the picks, let me recap them.
The man cam.
So we got the 40 the foreign correspondence on the Panthers plus 6.5. I'm on the Commanders minus 2.5. Bowen's on the 49ers minus 6. Kiernan's on the Eagles minus 7.5. And the pod is on the Man Campbells minus 3.5. Those, those are the
I gotta
picks.
say, I mean, just speaking of Man Campbell, I might put in a future for both the Lions and the Ravens purely as a fan. That's what I want to see. The,
I I mean, should we just do it? Should we as a pod do it?
If
Are
we're
you
all, I mean, strictly like I don't necessarily have a read where it's like I think that this team's going to catch fire. I already had my preseason Bengals bet, which is it feels like it's on life support. I
Yeah.
feel like they've actually been playing really well, and like they did play a
Yeah.
winning game
Yeah.
on Thursday. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
they're just going against one of the best teams and everything like that. I mean, I still think they can sneak in as a wild card, go on a little bit of a run. So I still have some allegiance to that, but it's like just purely as like what do I want to see? I'd be pretty happy to see the Lions versus the Ravens in the Super Bowl. I think that would be like an all timer.
Yeah, I think it'd be an awesome, awesome game.
And if it ends up being the fucking Chiefs, I think the Lions have as good a shot as any team to beat them in a game like that.
Yeah, I mean, as long like if you take both, like I kind of think. I mean, I look at the odds. I'm assuming that their conference odds are fairly short at this point, but still plus money. But I maybe look into just taking them both to win the conference and then taking them both to win the Super Bowl, and then it's like if one of them can make it, you still got some hope alive to try and win some money. So I don't know,
Yeah.
I'll maybe tinker around, see about the units and everything, just to make sure it's like if I don't want to still be like losing if like the Lions are like winning the Super Bowl or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'll figure it out and figure out how much to bet on each one and take that
Yep.
into account. But yeah, I mean, I just think it would be awesome if that was the that would probably be like the biggest over in Super Bowl history. It'd be fucking like 70 points.
Kyle Hamilton also escaped last night, only with like a sprained ankle, not anything worse. So he missed the rest of the game
Yeah,
yesterday.
it's like I mean this Ravens
The
defense
big
isn't
guy to
even
keep.
playing that great. It's just that that Ravens offense is unbelievable. And I was saying it to you, Zach, where it's like I feel like people still kind of have the idea in their head that Lamar's a runner first that can sometimes like rip off a deep ball, but he's truly a talented passer that can actually just pass in the pocket. He can move up and down in the pocket.
Yeah.
Obviously, he can run outside of it and make
Yeah.
unbelievable plays, whether he's taking off up the sideline and running or just making a throw or something. But like I was talking to Talon because Talon loves Lamar too, and I was saying it's like I'm starting to get into that territory where it's like I think he's the best quarterback in the league. I really do. And there's a chance he ends up with more MVPs than Mahomes. If he can get that ring, I think that he would start to get a lot more respect in that regard. But I just think that right now he is playing the best football as a quarterback, and not just as a guy playing quarterback, but as a passing quarterback. And they were saying on the broadcast too that Todd Monken, he came over from Georgia. He's the OC now. He's been the OC for the last 2 years. But I think he's like in his mid to late 50s now. If he was 15, 20 years later, he'd be getting a lot of attention as a head coaching candidate. But I mean, he's been doing unbelievable things. And, I was skeptical about Derrick Henry. It almost felt too good to be true coming into the season. But I mean, we're seeing it every week. I mean, he has just clearly been like the missing piece and taking them over the top with that offense. So, I mean, that offense is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I agree with the Lamar being I mean, he just makes everything so easy. Like looks so easy.
He's like legitimately one of my favorite players. Like he's just awesome. Like it's like impossible not to root for him.
Yep.
Dan Campbell plus 900 to win Coach of the Year. Dan
Those are
Quinn.
tough. Those are tough to predict though, because it's like when you go in with those expectations, like if they finish 13-3, it's like just it's kind of like what they were expected to do, right? It's like the Belichick thing. It's like Belichick, Reed, they never win it. Because it's like, you're always expected to put up those types of numbers. I was trying to think, I mean, Matt LaFleur, the loss last week made it a little bit tough, but yeah, like I feel like it's guys like that.
Yeah.
Is it Kevin O'Connell this year?
Yeah,
The favorite?
that's the exact name I was about to throw out, where it's like,
Yeah.
a lot of people thought, Darnold's coming in, he's starting, he sucks. And, he's been able to do this. I feel like he could definitely be a decent
Is
option.
is Dan Quinn up there? He must be, right?
Dan
Oh, yeah.
he's got the shortest odds. I mean,
He should probably win.
well, I mean, it's all. I think it's a lot of it's going to depend on how they finish, right? But Andy Reid's got the second shortest odds. Sean Payton's a good one. Jim Harbaugh.
Tomlin's an interesting one.
Yeah, Tomlin's interesting.
I mean, I guess until Andy Reid loses a game, I guess this whole conversation is pretty stupid, right?
Yeah, if they go I mean, I just got to make sure, but I'm assuming Belichick won when they went on.
Oh, I fucking hope so.
I mean, you can also look down the board at and there's some guys that depending on how things, finish out, you could make a case for even Sean McVay at 25 to 1, now that they're getting healthy again, but the fact that he's kept them in the mix and they're still right in it. You know, Jonathan.
If there was a way to bet on McVay to be top 3 in coach of the year voting, I would take that. I think it's gonna be a really tall task to get that
That'd be fun if you could do it's like golf,
that'd be sweet. Yeah.
But you go top 5 or top 10 pick in the voting.
Belichick did win when they went 16-0.
Yeah.
Only got 58% of the vote.
That's an absolute travesty.
That's unbelievable.
The NFL, I mean, it still is, but it really was terrible to the Pats.
This is a pretty good throwback as far as the old football guys. So it was Belichick, Mike McCarthy was second. The Packers went 13-3 that year. Jack Del Rio as head coach of the Jags was third. Wade Phillips as head coach of the Cowboys was fourth. Tony Dungy on the Colts, and then John Gruden on the Bucks. He was still coaching the Bucks.
Wow. Simpler times. Simpler times.
Good
Yep.
days.
Kieran, back to your Bengals Super Bowl pick.
Yeah.
They're 4-6. They're like a game and a half out right now. But, the Broncos are in the last playoff spot at 5-4. They got the Colts in front of them at 4-5. They're tangling with the Jets, who are 3-6. Like, if the Jets win this week, they'll obviously be tied. But then if you look at like their schedule, they got the Chargers next week, winnable. They got to play the Steelers, it's winnable. Cowboys, very winnable. Titans, Browns, very, very winnable. Broncos could definitely win that. Steelers, they could win. And as you said, like they're playing good football. I think they could rip off a number of wins. And they're a type of team that like they just need to get in.
Yeah.
That offense, they just get in, and if they can catch fire, like they could go on a run. So they're at 45-1 right now. Might be a good opportunity to buy the dip.
Yeah. I mean, I got him at like I got him at like I think I got him like over 20-1. So I think I just gotta take it on the chin. I put 25, put a unit on everything. So
Yeah.
I think I just gotta take I can't dump any more money into that. I gotta try and diversify. But
I might just sprinkle a little and buy low and
yeah. Zach, you know what? They're almost like my dynasty team, like where they're playing really good ball right now. When you're looking at the teams ahead, like some of the teams like right around them or ahead of them, you take them over all those other
yeah.
teams. But they had a bad start and they're not necessarily getting the wins right now. So it's like they can't feel cozy. And like you said, Tristan, if they just get in, you got to be feeling pretty decent about it. I mean, that defense was looking pretty good for the most part, and then Lamar just started to open it up in the second half. But I mean, yeah, they're playing a really good ball. They just need to start converting that into wins. But I mean, as far as like the Broncos and the Colts go, like I mean, if that's who they're chasing, I definitely like the Bengals in that chase. So
Ooh.
yeah, I mean, it does almost feel like maybe we're really fighting our ass off to get to one spot to get into that wild card spot. But I mean, hey, it's what you got to do. Start
Yeah.
0-3, 0-4,
I
whatever they
I
were. That's
also
how it goes.
I trust Joe Burrow to make the wild card push more than like Bo Nix, Joe Flacco,
Absolutely.
like those
Yeah,
type
you
guys.
can't have a team with quarterback controversy. And I think
No.
the Broncos, I think they're frisky, but I just feel like over the course of a season, I don't see them keeping it up.
I like Burrow winning out there. Like if I had to pick it,
And
definitely.
I'm not buying it with the Jets. And I really hope that they lose this week because Rodgers, when they were doing all the meetings for that Thursday night game, he's telling them, oh, if we just win this and then we win that, and then, we go and it's kind of a weird spot for this team. And they were talking all about it on the broadcast. And it just pissed me off that they actually went out and won. And then it's one of those things too. It's like, okay, well, Texans are down their best two receivers, and their offensive line sucks. It's like, are we going to give the Jets the credit for that win, or we're going to say maybe the Texans are actually kind of stink? So I don't know. I would love to see the Jets just come out and lose this week, and kind of dash all hopes of that miracle run. So that's who's right on the Bengals' ass. So after that, I think it's the Titans and the Dolphins and the Browns. So
Yeah, there's not many teams left. The Raiders
yeah,
suck.
it's like as far as what's behind them, it's not too much. So it's like they just gotta try
Oh,
and
I guess the
catch these.
Chargers are heavily in that mix, right? But they're probably already in.
I'm almost counting them as just like in. I feel like they're even
Yeah,
if the Bengals end up passing them, I feel like the Chargers just have a wild card spot. So I was just counting them as the second wild
yeah,
card team
yeah.
already.
I was counting in my head. I knew I was missing a team. Yeah, they're definitely gonna make it.
Yeah.
All right. Picks are in.
Sweet.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right.
Hey, 5-0 Wiggy gets us close. Gets us close.
I mean, if
23,
5-0
26
year,
1, it just looks like a good record. Like even though it's a losing record, it's like if somebody saw that, it's like they'd just be like, these guys know their shit. They're just kind of
So
some
they're
bad
doing all
pricks.
right. Yeah.
I mean, also 5-0 week here, like,
And then another one.
we were just saying 6-3-1 in our last 10. We're
Yep.
11-3-1 over a 3-week course. That's serious.
Pretty good. It's pretty legit.
Serious business. So, I mean, let's just do it. Let's
So-
just do
Yeah,
it.
we're like full on 04 Sox territory now. Like, we just gotta keep telling ourselves, don't let us go 5-0. Don't let us go 5-0.
Truly though. Truly.
We do it
Hey,
this
we cover the Germany game. All of a sudden, Washington comes out. They really establish things.
I love it. All right.
Man, starting with the Panthers a fucking Sunday morning just is such a chore.
So starting with a pick that I do
Such
not
a
like.
chore.
It's just
That's
Money's in
a
the,
chore.
money's in the crumbs.
It
Money's in the
is.
crumbs.
No, it is. It is. It is. But
I do have Bryce Young. I got my eye on him. I kind of liking the parlay that I'm seeing, but
All right.
we'll see. We'll see. I'm chasing another Ratner.
I love
I'm feeling a touchdown round robin this week. I might get back to the round robin.
it. I love it. I love it. All right. We'll see you guys
I'll see you.
Peace.
later.